welcome to Gist With Dara. This is your host, Dara Smee Bencali speaking, or Dara for short. Anyways, today is a very special episode because, again, as you can tell by the title, this is the anniversary episode. So yes, it's been 1 year, which is really crazy. So I'm recording this on the 10th, so technically it'll be, I don't want to say today because I'm not recording it on April 11th, but it's a year from the day you're listening to this, or I don't know if you're listening to it on the 11th, but whenever the day I publish this, it's been a year, a whole 365 days of this podcast. That's actually really crazy to believe because, I've gone through, or this podcast rather, has gone through, a lot of ups and downs, I guess, so to speak, with, moments of me considering just quitting the whole thing and stopping it, moments of me lacking motivation to continue goes into the quitting thing, and then also moments of me being super excited, nervous, anxious, worried, all of the emotions just going up and down. But I will say that I'm really happy that I decided to continue it, and I'm really excited to see where it continues to go, and I would hope that I'm able to continue it for as long as I can, honestly. But I mean, life happens, so I don't know the future, but for now, I will say that we're going strong and we're going to continue. And yeah, so basically, for today's episode, I'm just going to go through fan favorites, basically. Okay, and so basically, what I mean by fan favorites is the fact that, so after each season ends, I think I started this with season 2, so then I went back and did season 1 as well afterwards. But after each season ends, I put out a thing on Instagram, question sticker or whatever, just asking my followers what their favorite episodes were from that specific season. So I've accumulated all of those, and I'm basically just gonna read through them, which it's not a lot of not suggestions. It's not a lot of answers, and then some of them are repeated, so I'm obviously not going to read the repeated ones. So I'm just going to go through, read them, and basically I'm going to rate every single episode that I've done so far. And I've done a total of I believe 34 episodes, which is, oh my gosh, that's kind of crazy. That's actually a lot. Yeah, so 34 episodes, 10 episodes in each season, 2 bonus episodes, and then so for season 4 I've released 2 episodes. So yeah, that's actually, I don't know, that's kind of crazy that I've really been able to put out 34 episodes, and I feel all of them have been, decent in my opinion, at least decent. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go through those, and then so I'll go through the those fan favorites or whatever first, and then I'll actually go through this season in order and rate each episode on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being amazing, or not amazing, amazing, and then 1 being I didn't like it. And these ratings are based off of editing, sound, and the actual content, but mostly content. So yeah, okay, so let's get in with season 1. So the first one, the person said, obviously all these are anonymous because why not? And well, I was not why not, but I guess privacy. And then not only that, but it doesn't even tell me who said it, and I don't remember. So yeah. Anyways, the first one was body shaming, and they said it's something I never really focused on because I don't care how I look. So yeah, I really liked that episode. That was the episode I did with my sister, which was season 1, episode 7. And yeah, my sister joined me on that one. It kind of came from, it was interesting because something happened, we were both in some place or whatever, and we heard a comment being made about someone else's body, and then we both kind of looked at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, here it goes again. And then we both had the idea, and once she had said it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I was thinking that. So kind of just worked out that we both thought of that in that same moment, which happens a lot, honestly. I don't know, I feel it's with most siblings who are super close, but we'll both just look at each other and have the same thoughts and know exactly what we're talking about without even having to say any words, which I am grateful for. So Damalila, if you are listening to this, which I hope you do actually listen to this episode, but anyways, if you're listening to this, when you're listening to this, just know I appreciate you a lot. So, yeah. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, this episode, I think it was pretty good. I liked it. I feel like we both brought not decent, good things to the table. Sorry, I need to stop using the word decent. Anyways, I feel like we both brought good things to the table, and I think we were both able to share our opinions. I don't know what the word is, but be able to share our opinions without judgment, not without judgment, because we kind of agreed on the same things, but like, I feel like we were both able to bring something to the table. I think I already said that, but yeah. And then also with that though, I think I hope that that episode was a good tool of like, I don't know if I just say education, but I just hope it was a good tool of letting people know that they should not body shame, whether it's a bigger person, a smaller person, whatever it, whoever it is, you should not body shame them. Anyway, so all that being said, I would rate this episode a 7, I think, and that's because of like editing and stuff and feedback in the episode, which I will say I'm not perfect with yet. Like, I'm still learning on that, not on that spectrum, on that side of things or whatever. Editing, I feel like I've definitely gotten better with editing, but there's still like in some of my episodes there's still like feedback and background noise, which I feel like won't necessarily get fixed until I become like a professional podcaster or something. Because yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would hope it gets fixed soon because it's kind of annoying, but at the same time I'm learning, so I try not to, I guess, beat myself up about it too much. And then also, sorry, I meant to say this earlier, but I realized that I never actually gave, like, I don't think in any episode I ever like talked about where the name for the podcast came from, Gist with Dara. So I'm just gonna quickly and briefly say that. But basically, so gist, I know that like, I think, I don't know, I don't want to say just America, but in most countries, I would say, I guess, yeah. I'm gonna say most countries, I don't want to say just except Nigeria because I actually don't know, because it's probably a lot of different countries within Africa. But anyways, I'll just say a lot of countries use the term gist as like the summary of things, and like, oh, just like give me the gist of it, which, so that's not exactly what I mean when I like in the name of the podcast though, Just with Dara. So I think with the way the word gist is used in Nigeria, it's kind of similar, I guess, but it's more like gossip or like tea or whatever. Like, oh, it's like when people say like, oh, tell me the tea, it's like, oh, like just me. So that's like where the name came from. Like, and my family and stuff, if we're like talking about like something interesting that happened, like, oh yeah, just me now or something like that. So yeah, that's where the name came from. I think I was just like, oh wait, yeah, I just remembered now. Okay, so that's the reasoning for the name. And now that I think about it, where the name really came from, I actually kind of low-key stole it from someone. Not like really, but anyways, there's this Nigerian show called Skinny Girl in Transit, which you can find on YouTube on Nindani TV, Ndani TV. So all of you should go watch it because the show's actually really good. Anyways, yeah. So there's this show called Skinny Girl in Transit, and she was like a radio host, the main character, and the name of her show was Just with, was it Taiwa or Tiwa? Tiwa, I think that's her name in the show. Yeah, it was like Just with Tiwa. And I remember when I was trying to think of like podcast names, I was like, oh yeah, Just with Tiwa. And I was like, okay, let me just do this because I was like, no, like no one's gonna realize that I took this from this show, because I didn't think that that many people would listen as much as it is now. But oh well. Anyways, besides, I mean, it's a general term, so I think it's okay. But yeah, that's where it came from. And then I was saying what the name, what Gist is. And then I didn't use my full name of Just with Darasimi or even Oluwa Darasimi, which that would not have happened. But anyways, I didn't use, because the thing is, most people call me Darasimi, or I didn't have, like, people didn't call me Dara until I got to high school. Because I was like, oh, I should have a nickname. That'd be cool. And it wasn't because of the podcast. Like, that was just something I decided in 2020 when we were in quarantine. I was like, when I get in person in school, I want to have a nickname. And I feel like it was subconsciously. I'm sorry, I'm so diverting off here, but oh well, it's fine. Anyways, it was subconsciously because it was annoying hearing people butcher my name all the time, and like I get it obviously because like it's not like it's super easy. Like I understand, but especially because if you're not Nigerian or if you haven't heard the name before, like I don't expect you to be able to pronounce it right. But I'm not gonna lie, it does kind of bother me, so that's why I was like, okay, I'll just have people call me Dara because I figured it would be easier, and then I also thought it'd be cool to have a nickname. So that's why I did that. But that didn't really correlate with the podcast because when I started the podcast in April of last year, there was no one calling me Dara except for maybe like one cousin calls me that, but not really. She mostly calls me Dara Simi. And yeah, that was pretty much about it, honestly. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little background on where the podcast name came from, and yeah, and then also, I'm sorry, I meant to say all this before I started going into season one, but I kind of forgot. My brain is all over the place. Anyways, also the amount of plays like that I've gotten in the past year. I also want to talk about that because I feel like that's a huge achievement. So there have been, and I'm accumulating this from YouTube as well. There have now been a total of 2.1 thousand listens or downloads, whatever. And I think like I'm really happy about that because it's kind of crazy to believe that, like not exactly that means people, but like that my podcast has been played that many times. And then I can't give a number for people because that I can't be told that. Just like established listeners, but that's not like the full amount because that's just, I think that's those who like subscribe or something like that. I think, or no, not subscribe. I think it's like an average play within a certain amount of time, or not an average play, average amount of listeners, or something like that. So I can't really say that number, but I would like to believe that it's at least 1,000. That's what I'm telling myself to make myself feel good. So, yeah, thank you to my 1,000 listeners. I'm sorry. Anyways, and thank you for over 2,000 plays because that's really cool. And I feel like right now I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I'm so happy. But I feel like when I get even farther, I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, this is actually like real and that's just really crazy. So, yeah, thank you for continuing to listen. I really appreciate it. And honestly, I don't know what else I can say besides thank you because I probably would not continue this podcast. Like, I probably would not keep it going if I didn't have listeners. Actually, would I? Maybe I would. I don't know. It depends. But yeah, I'll say that you guys are the ones who keep this going. So thank you for that. Okay, now getting back on track though, I'm sorry, to the next fan favorite from season one, which is the misogyny episode, which was actually the season one finale. So season one episode 10. Yeah, sorry. Anyways, yeah, so season one, episode 10, and it says, the person said, the misogyny episode, triple exclamation point. A much needed conversation. Yeah, so I really enjoyed this episode. It was my first time having double guest, I believe. Yes, I'm correct. Sorry. It's my first time having two guests on the podcast, which those guests were Layla and Kazaya. And they were the ones who actually approached me about this episode. They had the episode idea, and it was both of them who came and were like, oh, like, we think that this would be a good idea. And I'm really grateful for that because I think that that episode was, like this person said, a much needed conversation, and it was really important to have to talk about this. And even though we're just like young teenagers, I feel like we could add as much to the subject at hand as older people could. So I'm grateful that they had this idea and that they came to me with this. But yeah, I like this episode a lot. I would rate it an 8.3. That's not because of content. That's solely because of my editing and like feedback and stuff, and like network issues and like connection issues to where I don't think it was fully clear. Like there was like static and stuff, a little bit. Not like throughout the whole episode. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so that was back in June of last year. But so that's why I rate this episode an 8.3. Not because of content, but because of all those issues in editing and stuff. So the next fan favorite was, they said, the BLM one. It was interesting to hear about BLM from people with different backgrounds. So this was actually my first bonus episode. It was during season one. And the episode was titled A Year After George Floyd's Death, Black Lives Matter from the perspective of, um, an Asian American, Latina American, an African American, um, and a white American. So, yeah, I was really grateful for this episode as well. I don't even know where the episode idea really came from. I think I was like, if I remember correctly, I kind of remember it. I was like in the kitchen, like sweeping, and then I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it would be cool if it was like with people from different backgrounds as well. And so then I like reached out to different people, and that's kind of where the episode came from, really. And then also, um, yeah, so that's basically where the episode came from. It was like the first episode that I think was over like 30 minutes or something, but I think it was definitely worth it. I loved that episode quite a lot. I definitely think that we were all able to bring good points to the table. And honestly, this is gonna sound weird, but like that was like okay. So the three guests in that episode were Isabel, Taylor, and Raquel, which all three of them are my friends. And so Taylor and Raquel I'd known from a while from like elementary school, but I don't know why I felt feel I need to put this in, but oh well. Anyways, so but then Isabel, yeah, we were in high school together because we didn't go to any schools before that, but we were online the whole year, so I hadn't actually even met her or really spoken to her before. So I was like, I guess I felt kind of weird that like we were doing that episode, but I hadn't like met her before because I guess I think I was kind of afraid that it would seem weird or whatever. But she was like really cool, and I definitely loved her as a guest, which is like, I mean, she came back for a second time. So not to say that those who haven't come back again, I didn't love them, because the way that was worded sounded weird. Maybe that was just my head. Anyways, I'm sorry, but yeah. So I definitely think that she's an amazing person, and the way she speaks and carries herself is also amazing. So yeah. Now the next, and that goes for all the guests in that episode. I think that they all, like I said before, were able to bring great points to the table. And also with that though, I did want to say that my opinion on certain things touched on in that episode, not, I don't want to say it changed, but I think I've had a little more perspective and into things, a bit more open about things. So I know that I completely said how like the riots were just like the riots that happened with the Black Lives Matter protests in like 2020, summer 2020, that I didn't stand with them at all, and I still don't stand with them. But I feel like I understand a bit more now as to why people decide to resort to that path, because it's like you're not listening when we're peaceful. So if the only way to get you to listen, to pay attention, is for us to riot, then that's what they did. At the same time, though, I don't necessarily think that that accomplished much, though, because now it just paints a bad image in people's minds about what the protest stood for and what the whole movement stands for, which, even though majority of them were peaceful, people aren't going to look at that, because that's just how the media distorts things, and that's how the news is portrayed, that, oh, well, look at these riots, like look at what they're doing, whereas it wasn't even like, it was less than half. So I mean, yeah, and then not only that, but I think with the ACAB thing, all cops are bastards or bastardized. Bastardized, yeah, pretty sure that's a word. Anyways, sorry. So with that though, I said that I also don't agree with that at all, and I still don't. But I think, in a sense, I'm also a bit more open now to, I guess, I don't want to say understanding, because I feel like I did understand it before, but realizing more that, I think Isabel said this in the episode as well, that it's more the system they're talking about, not every single police officer. So I guess, yeah, a little eye-opening for me, but I just wanted to add that to what I was saying here. And then we have the next fan favorite was the person said, excuse me, the identity crisis one. It really resonated with me. So this episode was season 1, episode 2, and the title was Loki had an identity crisis. Don't worry, I'm exaggerating. So this was the second episode. Wow. I think it was around like 18 minutes. I remember I was just happy that it went over the 3 minutes that I originally had for episode 1 of season 1. But yeah, so this episode I definitely enjoyed it. I think that I was able to just get my I don't want to say opinions, but get what I was feeling out there. Like with I think I touched on like how like throughout the years, like how my name has been pronounced, throughout the years of people calling me whitewashed and me not realizing or me feeling like I wasn't black enough and felt like I had to prove that, oh yeah, like I am black enough, and that's like that was really annoying and frustrating. And then yeah, just going through all of those things. I did want to add something to the name thing. So I know I touched on this earlier. So like I said, I'm okay with people calling me Dara. That's fine. But being that it was like a subconscious thing of, oh, okay, this will be like easier for people to pronounce. It was like it's like in throughout. I think I don't know. Okay, yeah, sorry. When I got to high school in person, which was August, since I was online all of last year, I know I keep saying that, but just saying again. Anyways, when I got to school in person, I did tell people first. I said my name is Darashini, but you can call me Dara if it's easier for you. But I would. Truth is, okay. Is it a preference? I mean, it's more like if you can pronounce Darashini, go ahead and call me that. Like that's fine. But if you can't, and if it's easier for you to say Dara, I don't mind, and I'm not gonna feel any type of way about it. Like I would rather have you say something that's easier than to like mess up my actual name. So that's what I would always say first. Like I would say that originally, but then I realized, and I feel like if anyone from school is listening to this, I don't want you to like feel bad in any sense because I've had some people tell me like, oh, they feel bad for not being able to pronounce my name, but like I'm like it's okay because I understand. It's not like I can pronounce every single foreign name that I see or that I hear. It takes time. So, but basically, I don't know how. I think it's because of the podcast. So I think when people see like Gist with Dara and they see that Dara, they automatically say Dara with their tongues, which I'm not saying the same thing here. Like with Dara and Dara, there's a difference there with how you pronounce that second A. Da and Da. I don't know why I'm going through the whole phonetics of this thing. I'm sorry. But anyways, it's been, I guess, like people have been just conditioned now to saying Dara. And it's really weird because I use Dara so that that's easier for you to pronounce, but somehow people still mess it up. And honestly, it's my fault too because I don't really say anything that first time when they say Dara. I'm never like, oh, it's Dara. But I feel like I'm just so tired that I'm like, oh, well, like at least it's close enough. Like it's closer than saying saying trying to say Dara to me, but then they say like trying to think. Oh yeah, like how I was saying. I think I said it in this episode. Like one of my teachers last year said Darosimi. That was just so off. So I'd rather have you say Dara than Darosimi and mess up my full name. But yeah. So I just thought I was kind of joking about it with my friend, and really I just find it funny. So I'm not actually mad about it or anything. But like how okay, so my full name is Oluwa Darasimi. That's 13 letters. Um, okay, I don't have anyone call me that because that's just not how it works. Typically, no one would call me the full thing. So that first part is taken off to where it is Darasimi, 8 letters. Okay, people still can't pronounce that. Again, I understand. I'm not saying it's not the easiest name in the world. I do understand. But at least try. That's what I will say though. If you at least try, I'm okay with you. If you don't try, I'm kind of offended. But moving on. And then I shortened that to 4 letters with Dara. It's still getting messed up to Dara. So I don't know. It's just really weird. But I don't know. I what if I like shorten it to just like 2 letters, Da or Ra or oh no, just 1 letter. Like that teacher, one of my teachers last year, who on the first day just called me D, and I was like, I didn't say that was my name, but okay. Yeah, maybe that would be the easiest resort. Again, just I'm just joking here. I'm joking with myself, I guess, because I'm sitting in my room talking to myself, basically. Actually, no, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to my listeners. So thank you guys for listening to me. Okay, moving on. Anyways, sorry. So now the next fan favorite, they said, I haven't watched every single one yet, but I really liked the gender roles episode. So this was season 1, episode 5. Yes, episode 5. Sorry. Anyways, this was season 1, episode 5. It was titled "Gender Roles Are Stupid." I don't remember where I got the episode idea from. I think I was just thinking like, oh, what are like, at the time, oh, what are like controversial things to talk about? And then I was like, okay, this, because I can't remember if it was like something happened and then I did that episode, or if it just like came to me. I truthfully can't remember. But yeah, I really like this episode. I think, pretty sure. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I didn't rate the last one. My bad. Moving back, Loki had an identity crisis. Don't worry, I'm exaggerating. I'm rating this episode 7.5, and that's for editing and feedback. Content, I liked, but or sort of. If it was just based on content, maybe an 8.7 or 9, maybe. But editing, feedback, all that stuff made it a 7.5. I think that's what I just said, right? Actually, a 7. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyways, sorry. So back to gender roles are stupid. This episode I liked it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Gender roles are stupid. Like, I'm not gonna go into the nitty-gritty because then I'm just kind of repeating what was said in that episode, but definitely go listen to it if you haven't yet. I think it was a solo episode, but I did enjoy it. So this episode I would rate it 7.2, and that's for not exactly content, maybe the way I approached some of that content and maybe the way I said some of it, and then also editing and like feedback and all that stuff. Okay, and then the next fan favorite was this person said the abortion episode. I liked that both of you could respect each other even with different opinions. So this was season 1, episode 4, and it was titled Two Different Sides on the Topic of Abortion. Definitely go listen to that. It's one of my personal favorites. This was the first episode that I had a guest on, which was my lovely Auntie Briella. So, Auntie, if or when you're listening to this episode, I love you and thank you for joining me on this episode. I personally really enjoyed it. I would like to redo it, actually. I don't know, either, not necessarily by myself, but like maybe, I wouldn't say I should do it with Auntie Briella again because it would just kind of be repetitive with the things we said before. But like, and definitely, I'm not gonna say definitely, but maybe not in season 4, but maybe later on, like we do it with someone else has a different opinion, or even bring on, or maybe like have me being like the quote, like the mediator or just the host, and me not like, or I could share my personal opinion, I guess, but like having 2 other people with like differing opinions on that. So yeah, I like this episode. I still stand with what I said. I don't think I've actually changed any of my opinions on that front. Don't think I'm going to. Will still say I am pro-life. However, remember this though, I don't believe that there should be laws against abortion. So that is where I would say I differ from some other pro-life people. And I definitely don't necessarily agree with like, not even necessarily, I don't agree with the laws that are like in Texas right now. And I think, I'm not sure if it was Florida that's trying to have those like sort of same laws, or they actually do now. But I know Texas does. I don't agree with that at all. So don't think that I'm like, oh, like I'm pro life and I just think like women should like go to jail for like having an abortion, and I'm like, and all this stuff. Like, it's not like that. Like, it's just the fact that excuse me, the fact that like I just don't necessarily think it's like the best resort out of all things. Granted, I know it's not up to me because I mean, like, I know that for some people that's what I guess, I don't want to say works for them, but that's what has to happen in this situation that they're in. But at the same time, that doesn't actually mean that I feel like I would say like I stand with it. Like, I think I was watching this one video of like differing sides like with abortion, and one of the pro-choice women said, oh, like she was like, I love abortion, I think it's beautiful. I was like, okay then, that's really questionable, because most of the pro-choice people I've spoken to before, they would never say like, oh, I love abortion, or oh, I think it's beautiful. I don't think terminating your pregnancy is beautiful, so to speak, or something that you should love. But then again, I don't know. I don't really necessarily know what's gone in this person's life that they said something like this. I don't know. But yeah, so I still would say I'm pro life. But at the same time, I don't agree with all the things that pro life people agree with. So I just wanted to make that clear, because also though, I would also like to say the amount of what's the word? Like, the amount of, like, pro-life people who get, like, I don't want to say the word attack because I don't think it's as serious as that. But, like, people, especially younger people now, will, like, if you say you're pro-life, they'll just start, like, hating on you. And I'm like, it's not even that serious. Like, literally, first of all, and I'm talking people, like, my age and stuff. And it's like, we're not even grown yet. So we're still young. We're, like, in high school. We're, like, sophomores. Like, we're, like, 15, 16 years old. Like, don't be rude to people because they have a different opinion than you. And I feel like that's something that needs to be preached so heavily because for me personally, as long as your opinion isn't like hateful in any way against someone else or a certain group of people, I can still talk to you and I can still be friends with you, and we can even have conversations about that different opinion. Like, majority of my friends are pro-choice, so it's not like I would only align myself or be friends with people who are pro-life. So I mean, honestly though, I just feel like people need to remember that you should not be hating on people who have different opinions than you. Just because you disagree with them does not mean you need to be rude. Does not mean that you need to hate in any way. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. But so this is the last fan favorite from season 1, and this person said the marriage one. I found it really entertaining. So this was season 1, episode 6, and it was titled, marriage, just an idea or an actual lifelong commitment? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Anyway, so this episode I did with my cousin, Followable Me. I think it was the second episode of the season who had a guest. Oh, was she really my second guest? I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought. Yeah, she was. Anyways, though. Yeah, so this was my second episode. Not second episode, my bad. Second guest on an episode. My cousin, I think this, maybe the episode idea maybe just came from when we were sitting down talking about it one day or something. I don't know. I know she was at our house at the time, so that's most likely what happened. But, yeah, I'm glad that we had this, episode. I think that, yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a good episode all around. But yeah, it just goes back with like, are people really getting married because like, oh, they have to, which I feel like honestly happens a lot. And I'm gonna generalize it and say African households, or honestly just foreign in general. I feel like it happens a lot. Or like people just get married to have children, and personally for me, that's not something that I want. Like, I don't want to get married just because, oh, I have to, or because I want children, or just because, like, oh, this person seems okay or they seem tolerable. Like, that's probably the biggest mistake you can make, like marrying someone because, not because like you're in love with them, but because, oh, they're tolerable, like they're not that bad. I feel like honestly, in order for me to get married, I have to be like head over heels for this person, not falling, but like in love, like can't live without them type of stuff. Because if I can live without you for more than, okay, I'm not gonna give it time, but anyways, if I can live the rest of my life without you, you're not the person for me. Like, I'm not gonna marry you because, like, clearly, I mean, I don't need, or not need, I feel like I wouldn't, my gosh, I cannot speak. I don't have that, I don't want to say wanting, but I guess need, yeah, need to be with this person for the rest of my life. So, yeah, anyways, once again, forgot to rate the last episode. I keep doing this, I'm sorry. But with the abortion episode, I rate that, 8.5, everything altogether. Marriage episode, I rate that, an 8. The, not the editing, but like the feedback, I guess, or like the audio. Yes, that's the word. Thank you. The audio in the episode, I don't think it was all that good. So that's my rating for that episode. And then now I'm going through the episodes that were not chosen as a favorite, which are only 4. 4 of those? Yes, 4 of those. Season 1, episode 1, which was Let Women Wear the I'm so sorry. Let women wear what they want to wear, or just let women wear what they want. My bad. Anyways, yeah, so this episode, I redid it in like season 3, which I'm happy that I did, because I did not, if I'm being honest, is my least favorite episode. I did not like this episode at all. Content wise, a good 8.5. The content was like, or even 9. Like, the content and what I was trying to put across was pretty good. Now, how I put it across and the fact that I was literally reading a script, not so good. So I'm gonna rate the episode together a 3. That's also for like audio and stuff. But yeah, it was not that good. But I mean, I don't I'm not like too like what's the word? I'm not beating myself up about it because it was the first episode and like I was just testing things out, testing out the system that I was using or that I am using to like put out this podcast, put out the episodes and stuff. So that's why like I honestly just find it funny. Like I just kind of laugh about it. But yeah. So that's why I redid it, which I'm glad I did, which I'll talk about later on. And also, I'm realizing that this episode is getting rather long because I believe we're already at a little over 35 minutes. So, that being said, remember that you could pause this episode and come back to it because I mean, I do this too when I'm listening to podcasts, but like when it's super, like an episode is super long, I'm just like, oh, like I'm not gonna listen to this. I'll just listen to something else, like another episode instead. But yes, you can listen to this episode. Okay, you can pause it and come back, which I will do as well for other podcasts that I listen to. But just remember that. I just want to say that. So keep listening, or pause, and come back. But I'm gonna try to not like make it too long. Max an hour, you know? But I still have to get through season 2 and season 3. I didn't think it would take this long. I'm sorry. I thought max would be like 45 minutes, but that's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna say max an hour. Let me not say that now because it could possibly be longer. But anyways, just remember you can pause and come back. Okay, so now the next episode from season 1. Season 1, episode 3, my opinion on different ways to discipline children. I would rate this episode a 7. I think it wasn't that. I mean, like it wasn't that long. I think this episode was around 8 minutes or so. But then again, long episodes doesn't actually mean that it's good. But yeah, I would rate this episode a 7 just because of like editing, feedback, audio, content as well. I still don't believe in beating children, but I say that, but I'm sorry. I should not be saying this anyways. I say that, but sometimes, I mean, one little, like, hey, don't do that. Like, maybe like a little, I don't know if I said this in the episode, but a little slap on the hand doesn't really hurt. You know, I feel like I'm really going back on what I said. And that's just because of things that have happened recently. I'm sorry. I'm joking. I'm joking. But anyways, yeah, like, I feel like in a sense, I don't want to say it can build discipline, but it depends on your child. That's all I have to say for that. Moving on, but personally, I won't beat my children. Possibly. Okay, sorry. Season 1, episode 9. Opinions of mine that I feel sharing, part 1. So this was my first part. This is my first 2-part episode and my only 2-part episode. I should probably start doing that more. Ooh, what if I did like a 2-part episode with this? Wait, never mind. No, I'm not going to do that because then y'all won't listen. Never mind. Anyways, I'm joking. I'm sorry. I'm not joking because I'm not going to do it, but okay, whatever. Moving on. Yeah, so this episode, I would rate it a 7. Content, feedback, audio, editing, whatever. Season 1, episode... Oh, wait, that was not episode 9. My bad. That was season 1, episode 8. Then season 1, episode 9 was opinions of mine that I feel needed sharing. Part 2, I think I just rated part 1 a 7, right? Or 8, 7? Anyways, I rated the same thing. 7. Pretty sure that was a 7. And if I said 8, it's a 7 now. But yeah, same thing, audio, editing, content, all that stuff. Maybe a 6, actually. 6.7. Yeah, that sounds good. 6.7 for both of them. Okay. Sorry. So now we're moving on to season 2, fan favorites. Okay, so this person said, oh, it was, okay, well, I know I said these would stay anonymous, but I don't think she'll mind that much because it kind of gives it away in the thing. But before this, it was Isabel. She had said, like, oh, it was her episode. That was her favorite, of course. Then she said, but I suppose other than mine, I'd say the immigrant child one, I related to it so much. Yeah, so a lot of people, not a lot, but a lot of people who answer to this and then people outside of this who talk to me about it, told me that they really enjoyed this episode. And I'm glad that they did, because I really enjoyed this episode too. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's up there, so the rating is probably going to be pretty high. Not to say that the other ratings were not my favorites, but yeah. Really like this episode. The guest on this episode, so this was season 2, episode 5. And the guests on this episode were Iman and Sabrina. Little recap. So Sabrina is from, or has a Haitian background, and Iman has a Pakistani background. Yeah, and then me, of course, I have that Nigerian background. So I think this episode was really nice. I feel like all three of us were able to bring different opinions to the table, and I think a lot of people were able to relate to it, which is what a lot of people told me. They're like, oh yeah, like I related to that episode so much as a first generation American. So yeah. So even though we're not all from the same continent, I think that we were able to have a good, even though we weren't all from the same continent, we were all able to relate with each other. And I found that so interesting, because I mean, obviously I've talked about it before with like my other first gen friends, but it was nice to also talk about it with more people and realize, like, yeah, like we have a lot of the same, like we have a lot of similarities with how we were raised and growing up and different things like that. Okay, moving on to the next fan favorite. Sorry. So this person said, once again, I know I said it's staying anonymous, but I don't think she'll mind. This was Sophia from the social media episode, and she said the episode about immigrant parents and the social media one. So I'll touch on the social media episode, which, I mean, I guess that means I should also touch on the Stop Asian Hate one, since Isabel also said that. Sorry. But anyways, okay, so season 2, episode 6, which was titled Our Thoughts on Social Media. Oh, again, I did it again. I'm so sorry. Season 2, season 2, episode 5, which was the Our Lives as Children of Immigrant Parents. I rate that a 9.5. Content and all that. The editing was okay. The audio, it was once again okay, but I feel like the content really just boosted it. Oh, right, and I know I put this in the Instagram post, but I don't think I said it in the episode. Possibly put it in the description, but I want to say thank you to my friend Hadassah, who gave that idea for that episode. So yeah, because that was like a pretty huge success, I guess I can say. Okay, anyways, social media. Then I'll go to the Stop Asian Hate one. So this season 2, episode 6, Our Thoughts on Social Media. Really enjoyed this episode. This was because like Sophia and I, we were just like talking about it. I think I said that in the episode, but like, we were just talking about it, like, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like we should do a podcast episode about that, and that's kind of where that came from. I think this episode, audio and stuff, I'm gonna rate it a good 9.5 as well. Yeah, I think this episode was pretty good. It was around 40 minutes. I think everything that we said was really just like true, and I feel like it was just like, it was really real. So I like that episode. And of course, Sophia was an amazing guest, just like everyone else as well. And then the season 2, episode 1, Stop Asian Hate, more than a hashtag episode with Isabel. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, love this episode as well. I think content was really good. Everything that she was able to share, her experiences and stuff, and like how she has felt like with the different like Asian hate crimes that were happening last year, which I don't know if it's, because I don't want to give wrong information, but I don't know if it's just that the media wasn't covering it as much, but I do think that it dropped a little bit. But I heard recently that was rising a bit more, but I hope that can finally put to rest eventually. But yeah, I think that this episode was, I think it was a good episode. I'm gonna rate it 9.5 as well, or 9.55. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I'm giving all these decimals. Is that a number? 9. I'm so slow. I'm sorry. Math is not my forte. Yes, 9.55. That is the rating that I give for this episode. I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, next fan favorite. This person said, biracial one, because I liked hearing other new perspectives on a relatively uncovered topic. So this was season 2, episode 7, Growing Up Biracial, an interview with Hadassah Cox. So this episode was done with my close friend, Hadassah, who I am very grateful for this episode. I liked it a lot. I think, where did the idea come from? I don't know. I think I was sitting down somewhere and I was like, oh, that would be interesting, because I don't think I've really ever talked to her specifically about her experience. Is there a word? I guess so. Yeah, how it's been for her, growing up biracial in this world and in this country, and how she's kind of experienced different things. I've never really talked to her about it before, so I think that this episode was pretty good. I'm going to rate it an 8.5. That's for editing and audio and stuff. Content was pretty good. Not pretty good. Content was very good. So yeah, and I liked that we were able to do this episode together as well. Okay, moving on to the next, or the last fan favorite, because the other one, I think it's a repeat, but of the immigrant one, child of immigrant one. Okay, sorry. Anyways, the next one is, this person said, not Nigerian enough was also very cool because I could relate to that through my mom's side. So this was season 2, episode 4. I titled Not Nigerian Enough, question mark, question mark, question mark. I really enjoyed this episode. It was Chissa who was on this episode, and she was also on the recent episode that was just released on Saturday, the 9th of April. Yeah. Anyways, I love this episode a lot. It actually stemmed from a conversation I was having with my cousin, and I just realized that I never really I don't know if the right word would be accepted, but accepted the fact that I have had a unfortunate struggle with feeling like I'm not always connecting to my culture a lot. And I feel like the thing is, I do connect to my culture, right? I feel like I connect more to Nigerian culture than I do American culture. But at the same time, it was just really frustrating to have relatives and stuff, which it still happens. I don't know why I'm saying it in past tense, but having relatives and stuff I know they do it jokingly, but at the same time it's kind of annoying. But I don't want to use the word bashing because I feel like it's not that serious. But I guess getting on you for not being able to speak your native tongue. For me, which is Yoruba, and then for Chissa, Igbo. But yeah, and I feel like this just goes with anyone who's grown up in America or grown up in any other country besides their original homeland country, and it's really annoying, especially because the fact that it's people just act as if and by people I mean Nigerians for us, and then maybe other people as well with their native homelands. People just act as if oh, it's not that big a deal, as if oh, you just you just don't connect with their culture or whatever, or you're Americanized so much or whitewashed or whatever it is. And it's actually really frustrating because I feel like they don't, when they say those things, they don't think about how it necessarily makes us feel about the fact that you're literally saying that we're not I don't want to use the phrase good enough, but that we're not, basically that we're not that we're not Nigerian enough, or that we're not enough of whatever it is from that home country. And so it's actually pretty frustrating because especially when it's I'm actively trying. So right now I've definitely gotten better with me speaking Yoruba than from where I was before. At the time I was still learning. I think I started actively learning summer 2020 because I had a lot of time, because that was this start of the pandemic or whatever, or a few months into it. So I had a lot of time, so that's when I started that. But I'm still continuing it now. I would say I speak it more now than I did before. I definitely think I'm getting better. Almost fluent maybe, I'm lying to myself. Anyways, understanding, fluent, yes. Can you be fluent understanding? I don't know. If that's a thing, that's what I am. I can understand what you're saying to me. Speaking, I'm getting there. And I feel I'm going to give myself this goal. Imagine if this year comes and that's not even true. But anyways, I'm going to give myself this goal. 2023. I actually originally gave myself the goal of December 2021. No, not December. Was it March? December 2021 was something else, I think. But March 2022, I said that, I put in my calendar everything. I was I should be able to speak it fluently, where it's sweet, old Zoom, which is I just read what I said here about. But yeah, that it's sweet. And that's what I said was gonna happen. That clearly did not happen. But not my fault. Or is it? I don't know. Maybe, whatever. Anyways, I'm getting off track again. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I'm now gonna say goal of 2023 December. I should be able to. No, that's kind of late because I feel like I'm on a path where I can do it earlier. Okay, that's latest. That's latest. 2023. What's this month? It's April. 2023 April. So I'm giving myself a year to like get it all nailed in. Where like I can have a full length 40-minute conversation with someone, fully in Europe. I think right now I could maybe do 15 to 20 minutes. But after a while, it would just be me like nodding my head yes or nodding my head no because I can't respond to you. But yeah, okay, that's what I'm gonna say. That would be like when I would like to say that I can be like, oh yeah, I speak it fluently. I mean, even though right now, like I occasionally tell people that I speak it because I'm like, why not? I basically do, not really, but kind of ish, sort of, whatever. Um, yeah. Once again, getting off track, but that's what I'm gonna say for now. So, now we are moving into the other. Did I rate this episode? I don't think I did. I'm sorry. This episode, not Nigerian enough. I rated a 9 because I think the audio was not too shabby on this one, and content was chef's kiss. Why did I just do that? I'm sorry. Anyways, moving into the other season 2 episodes that were not put in on these fan favorites. Season 2, episode 2, let's normalize talking about periods. I'm surprised no one said this because this episode was like really good, but oh well. Maybe they just didn't listen to it yet. Anyways, sorry, I'm sounding kind of cocky now. Yeah, so this episode had my guest was Kazaya. This was her second time on the podcast. Now she's been on it for a total of 3 times. So literally, like, we should just keep her running. Like, season 4, she should be like in an episode 2 that way she's like in every season. I'm kind of joking. Well, I'm not joking. Maybe. I don't know. It depends on if we think of an episode topic. But yeah, I love Kazaya. I think she every single episode, I think she's been amazing. And every single episode that we've had together, I've had at least 2 people tell me like, oh, they really, really liked this episode. So yeah, this episode, normalizing talking about periods. I mean, it's in the title, like, don't feel as a female, do not feel ashamed for having your period. And as people in general, we should not be shaming anyone for having their period or acting disgusted when we hear people talking about it, because that's actually really annoying, and you don't need to do that, because technically all of us would not be on this planet without a mother's period or whatever. So yeah, this episode, I'm going to rate it an 8.8. Actually, a 9. I'm ignoring the fact that some of the audio, I feel like the audio, I don't think the audio was that bad. I feel like it was okay. Content was amazing. So I'm going to say, yeah, 8.89. That's about right. Okay, next one was, season 2, episode 3, which was the controversy behind some of Disney Channel's hit shows, which this was my first collaboration episode, which was pretty cool, which was with Matthew from the That's So Matthew podcast. So go listen to that podcast if you like Disney, like, oh my gosh, all things Disney, DComs, everything, which I think now he's gone into more than just Disney, but yeah, so go listen to his podcast. I like this episode. I'm gonna rate it a 7 though, and that's because I feel like for me, the way I said some things were not necessarily the way I would have loved to say it. Like, I felt like the episode, it could have been a bit more lively, but that's mostly not mostly, that's not pretty much, I'm sorry, that's on my part. But yeah, so I'm gonna rate it a 7 for that. But other than that though, I did like the episode. Audio was, I think, okay. Yeah. So now we are going into season 2, episode 8, which was I'm Confused, ... I loved this episode, honestly. Like, it was the first episode that, like, I did not have, like, a script or anything. Not, like, script, but, like, I didn't have, like, an outline. Like, I was just talking, like, anything that came into my head at that moment, I said it. Like, I did not have anything that I was going by. I really liked this episode. It was a solo episode, of course. It was just a time when, this was a time, like, when I did not feel like going like continuing the podcast really, or I lacked motivation. And yeah, so okay, well, it wasn't really like I didn't feel like continuing it. I think it was just like I lacked motivation. The time when I didn't feel like continuing it was in June for other reasons. But yeah, so June of 2021. But anyways, I really like this episode. Like I said, I'm gonna rate it a 9 because I don't think the audio was that bad. Like maybe it was like a little cut at some points because I got like too close to the mic. But I think it was okay. I've noticed that the episodes that have better audios are the one that's a solo episode, because I feel like whenever it's two people or more or conjoint or whatever, like the network sometimes messes it up to where like it has like shaky audio, which is really annoying and sad, but I'll figure it out eventually. Hopefully this episode doesn't have too much of that, as long as I feel like I'm not too close to the mic, so hopefully not. But yeah, rating the episode a 9. Then we have, I'm also surprised no one said this was a favorite, because I had a lot of people come and tell me like, oh, I really like this episode, but oh well. Season 2, episode 9, which was Islam and Christianity, Here from a Muslim and a Christian point of view. So this was actually my most listened to episode. So it was actually pretty popular, like I said, most listened to episode. Well, at least with podcast platforms, not including YouTube. I haven't looked at those numbers for the most listened to, or I have, but I'm not like including that with the on the regular podcast platforms. Like I didn't do that math, but yeah, really enjoyed this episode. I think it's my longest episode yet, unless maybe this episode probably surpassed it. Yeah, I think that episode was 55 minutes long. That was with me editing stuff, but anyways, yeah, I love this episode. The guest was my cousin, or my older cousin, Aisha, and yeah, I definitely love the fact that she decided to join me with this. I know, like she said it in the episode, she was like waiting for podcast invitation for a while, whatever. Yeah, so I was glad that we were able to do this before. I think I mentioned it the episode, but it's not something that we talk about a lot with like our different religions, so I was glad that we were able to do that, like an open space, a safe space, and neither of us feeling judged or anything like that. So yeah, definitely enjoyed that episode. Now we have season 2, episode 10. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't rate it, my bad. I'm rating this episode a 9. No, yeah, yes, I'm rating this episode a 9. That's just everything combined. Yeah, I think this episode was pretty good. I had people like messaging me personally like, oh, like I love this episode. I was like, oh, that's so sweet, thank you. Anyways, then we have season 2, episode 10, colorism in the Black community. Okay, love this episode hands down. This one and the Islam and Christianity one are definitely one of my favorites. Even the I'm confused one is one of my favorites. But yeah, so this episode, it was a solo episode, but I think I liked what I said, so I'm gonna rate it a 9.7, which I think is my highest rating so far. On any of these episodes. Yeah, 9.7. I love this episode a lot. Okay, now we're going into, this isn't technically season 2, but it's before season 3. So it was the bonus episode from October 20th, which was a year after the Lekki Tollgate massacre. Where is Nigeria today? Which was an episode I did with my cousin, Fini Folowa. So yeah, she was on this episode with me because we're the same age. Well, she wouldn't like to say that. She's a month older than me, whatever. But yeah, we're the same age. She lives in Nigeria, so that's kind of why I figured like this would be like a good episode. Have people that are the same age, but and it's based off of this massacre that happened, but like with someone who actually lives there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good. I would rate this episode a 7. That's for audio. Yeah, 7 for audio. Content, pretty good. But yeah, so that's all season 2. Now we're going into season 3, which is interesting, but yeah. Then we'll go into those fan favorites and then going through each individual episode. Then we'll be almost done. But remember, you can pause and come back. And just remember that. And you can always do stuff while you listen to me talk and ramble for almost an hour. I think it will be an hour. It's probably already an hour. I don't know. I'm not looking at the time. But yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we're actually already at an hour. That's pretty interesting. Well, at least 16 seconds into this, and we will be. But yeah, so I guess I lied when I said max an hour. I apologize. But now I'm saying max an hour and a half because it definitely will not exceed that because I don't think I can talk for that long. Actually, I probably could. See, I'm wasting time talking right now. I'm sorry. But yeah, max an hour and a half. I know I've said this is something the third time saying this, but remember, you can pause and come back. Okay. Anyways, so moving into the fan favorites of season 3, which so this person said, I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but I loved the culture divide episode with Keziah. Same. Love that episode so much. Again, one of my favorites, one of my personal favorites. That was season 3, episode 4. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was season 3, episode 4. Full title was The Cultural and Social Divide Between Black Americans and Black Africans. So, yeah, I'm going to rate this episode a 10, actually. My first 10. Or our first 10. My first 10, our, whatever. Anyways, the first 10 of these episodes. Yeah, I think the audio was pretty good. Or decent, at least. All that stuff, editing, whatnot, I think it was all decent. And I think that's because this episode, I'm pretty sure we did it on Zoom. So that made it a million times better. But yeah, I think I may actually go back to doing episodes on Zoom to record because they always come out better that way. So I may go back to that soon. But yeah, I'm gonna rate this episode 10. Like I said before, I love Keziah. Love all the things that she talked about in this episode. Love all the things that we were able to talk about and discuss in this episode. Have once again an open space where we were able to just talk about the clear cultural social divide between Black Americans and Black Africans. I would say if you're from either of these groups or anyone else, even don't try to deny it because it's definitely there. I mean, I would hope and I would say that are we improving? I hope we are. I think we are, sort of. Yes, I do think we are. We are improving in that sense, but it's definitely it's definitely there. But we are improving. Now the next fan favorite was this person said, I really liked the take a break one. I think you came out with it at a point in my life where I was just really stressed. So it was nice to hear someone else going through same things and relate to, I guess. So this was season 3, episode 6, and this episode also came out at a point in my life where I was also really stressed, and that's why I made the episode actually because I think this week I was kind of struggling with what to talk about, but I was like, I'm so stressed. I was coming down with finals and all these things and getting my grades up, or it was honestly just one class. It was math. Getting my grade up, and I guess partially physics, but mostly math. Getting my grade up in math, and I was incredibly stressed where I really genuinely was thinking about it, and I was like, I see and I understand why people drop out of high school now, because it was just, and I know I'm exaggerating, but like, it was probably the most stressed I've ever been school wise and honestly everything wise, like in my little 15 almost 16 years of living, because when I say I was stressed, I mean like I was stressed. Like I said in the episode, like I wasn't eating or drinking or sleeping. Was I drinking? I don't know, maybe I was drinking some water, but I wasn't eating or sleeping or anything, and it was really bad. So yeah, don't think okay, this is gonna, I don't mean like, okay, like school is not everything. I don't think it's okay or necessary to stress yourself so much to a point where you're not mentally okay or even physically okay because of school. It's not that like it's important, so don't think I'm saying it's not important. School is definitely important. I think getting an education is really important and really vital, but don't let it like ruin your life or ruin your well-being or anything like that, because it's not going to be worth it in the end. If you get like that success or whatever but you're not happy, like what's the point really? So I just think it's, like I said in the title, like it's important to take care of yourself and it's okay to take a break, which is something that I didn't really realize before. Like I would just work, no break, and get like 4 hours of sleep, and that would be like me falling asleep. Not even like I was like, okay, it's time to go to sleep. Like that was just like me falling asleep in the middle of the work and my work, and then like I wasn't even getting my work fully done. So yeah, it's okay to take care of yourself and it's okay to take a break. So I just wanted to make that clear though, and I think that especially for people like around my age and younger people who are in school, I think it's just important that we remember that we should not overwork ourselves it's not worth it. So yeah. Next, and that one, I think a couple people said that was their favorite. So next fan favorite, this person said, I really liked the episode about sexism. I also loved the guest that you had. She was amazing. So this was season 3, episode 8. Nope, not 8. I'm sorry. Season 3, episode 7. And the full title was The Unfortunate Normalization of Sexism. So this episode was the guest, her name is Sai, and I love this episode quite a lot. It's also one of my personal favorites. I'm going to rate it a 10, which I'm sorry, I just realized I did it again. I didn't really rate the last episode. But take care of yourself. It's okay to take a break. I'm rating that a 9 because I think it's important, but I think audio wasn't amazing. But yeah, back to this episode, The Unfortunate Normalization of Sexism with Sai. Love this episode, rating it a 10, so second 10 for these episodes. Yeah, I think this was absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that she was the guest on this episode, and I'm so glad that she agreed to join me on this episode because, yeah, I was just really happy for that, and I was happy that I was able to meet her through those connections, which I believe I said or touched on in the actual episode. But yeah, I love this episode. I love everything that she talked about and everything that she said, and I love it. And then the next fan favorite, this person said the episode on Eurocentric beauty standards was super good. Definitely my favorite, or my fave. Anyways, yeah, so I really like this episode as well. This was season 3, episode 2, titled "The Obsession with Eurocentric Beauty Standards," and this episode came from my guest idea, Allison's idea. I had a on Instagram, give me recommendations of episodes I should do. And so she gave me this episode idea, and I was like, oh my gosh, you should guest on it. And then that's what happened. So really enjoyed this episode. I'm gonna rate it a 9. That's for audio and all that stuff, content and whatever. I really liked it. And honestly, if I was rating solely on content, I would rate all these episodes a 10. Except for episode 1, of course. But, that wasn't content. That was the way it was approached. And maybe some other episodes. One other. But basically, if it was just for content, all of them would be a 10 probably. Because I think I liked all the subjects that I've touched on so far. But anyways, yeah. So really enjoyed this episode with Allison. I was glad that she gave me the topic. I think she was an amazing guest, just like everyone else. And yeah, so that's why I rated a 9. Now, moving on to the next fan favorite. This person said, oh, right, sorry, I meant to this. But also, the recommendations, I should probably use some of those more, because I've only used 2 recommendations from the question sticker, whatever you call it, suggestion thing or whatever on Instagram. I should probably look through it and see if there's, and not see it, but because all of them are pretty good, but look at the other ones and possibly do episodes on them, especially when I'm stumped on an episode idea or whatever. But yeah, okay, this person said, I loved the cultural appropriation episode. It was really cool how you read different point of views. So this was season 3, episode 8, full title, starting the new year with a discussion about cultural appropriation. I really liked this episode personally. It was a solo episode. I feel like it was a solo episode. I think what I put across was pretty good, I guess. I would rate it an 8.9, maybe 9, 8.99. That's for audio and stuff like that and editing. But yeah, I like this episode. Also, I want to touch on something so actually one of my teachers, someone mentioned my podcast in the class, and so she started listening to it, which I thought was pretty nice of her. She listened to a few episodes. I really appreciate that she did that. But anyways, yeah, so she was talking to me about this episode that she listened to before, and she was saying oh, well, what about people dressing up as Disney characters for Halloween that are from another culture? For example, if someone was to dress up as Princess Jasmine or Aladdin from the movie Aladdin, or would that be cultural appropriation? Or if someone was to dress up as anyways, or just any other cultural type of Disney movie, or even like if someone was to dress up as one of the characters from the movie Coco, or just anything really. I'm sorry, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but anything. I said in that case, no, because she was just trying to see like my opinion on that, and I was saying I don't think so, because in that case it's like they're not appropriating that culture. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna dress up as like, they're not saying like I'm gonna dress up as an Hispanic person, or I'm gonna dress up as and as an Arab or as a Middle Eastern person. They're not saying that specifically. They're just saying like they're dressing up as a character who happens to be from that culture. So I think that's okay. Then again, maybe someone else disagrees with me. I don't know. If you do, I would love to hear your opinion, but or your viewpoint, whatever. But yeah, I personally think that's okay, because they're not appropriating that culture. They're just dressing up as a character who happens to be from that culture, which I think is perfectly fine. And like I said before in the episode, though, don't confuse appropriation with appreciation, which a lot of people do. I feel like people are really quick to jump and say like anytime that someone does something or dresses some way from another culture, they're automatically like appropriating that culture, which I don't see it that way. I feel like if they're being disrespectful or rude in any way, then yes, I think that's cultural appropriation, but I don't think we should be quick to jump and call it that. So yeah. Next fan favorite, this person said, my favorite was probably the Black CEO one. Really encouraging to hear from a successful Black female who has made it, you know? So this was season 3, episode 3. Oh yeah, haha. Season 3, episode 3. Full title, Sitting Down with the Female CEO of a Black-owned multi-million-dollar company. Let's talk success. Sorry. Also, I just want to say this. I don't know why I'm calling out my mistake, but it's fine. I just noticed this today when I was going through and like writing down the episode titles, whatever, to have it in front of me. And when I was going through, I realized that I literally titled this episode Sitting Down with the Female CEO of a Black-owned multi-millionaire dollar company. Like, I don't know how, like, no one told me that, or maybe no one else, just probably no one caught it and I'm just calling attention to it, whatever. But like the fact that this episode came out in, I think, October, I'm pretty sure, or not October, November, and I never realized the mistake I made, and I don't even know if you realize it now that I said it, but I said multi-millionaire dollar company. It's multi-million-dollar company, which now I've changed it, but yeah, millionaire would be to the person. The company can't be a millionaire. I don't know where my brain was going with that. I guess I just didn't realize, but yeah, multi-million-dollar company. Anyways, love this episode. It was with my dad's close friend who I call Auntie Nikki. I really appreciate that she came on this episode with me. I liked it a lot. I think more her, but I think interviewing her on this episode gave me insight to a lot of things that I didn't realize before. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed this episode. I'm going to rate it a 9.7. 9.7. Not a 10 for only like audio and stuff, but I loved the episode. So yeah. Okay, and that was actually the last fan favorite. So now we'll just go in through like each episode that wasn't mentioned as a fan favorite, and I'll just give my rating for that. So season 3, episode 1, which was the N-word, which was titled the N-word ... Yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed recording this episode. It was a solo episode. Season 3 premiere, first episode, season 3. I liked it a lot. I'm gonna rate it a 9.8. No, 9. And that's because I think I could have said some things maybe better, or like, I don't know, maybe like in a better way. But I liked the episode. I think I liked what I put out. Basically, you know, short consensus of the episode. If you're not Black, don't say it. That's just what I think. Not what I think. It's just don't say it if you're not Black. Like, that's it. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't care. And I think it bothers me so much even more now than I realized before with how ignorant some people still are with saying it. And they're like, and they just don't, like, it's okay because, like, at least I'm not white and I'm saying it. Like, no, it's just plain and simple. If you're not Black, do not say the N-word. I don't want to hear that word out of your mouth. And, yeah, it's pretty simple. Don't type it. Don't write it, anything. Like, I came across someone's Instagram account the other day, and I don't want to assume this person's race, but they're not white. I can tell that. And they're definitely not Black either. And in one of their posts, like the caption, I don't remember the caption now, but it had like the N word in it. It was like a pretty short caption, and I was like so confused, and I was like, what on earth? And people were like liking the post and stuff, and I was like, what is this? And then I was like, okay, maybe like I'm just confused, maybe like the owner is black. Nope, I went through the whole account. The owner was definitely not black, and I was like, why is this still happening? Like 2022, like the post was made, it was either this year or 2021, but late 2021. So, and even if it was early, like you should just realize like it's not okay. And I'm kind of tired of having to explain that to people. But yeah, that's basically the consensus of that episode. So yeah, I enjoyed it though. Sorry, just went on a little rant there. But anyways, now we're moving on to season 3, episode 5, which was Let Women Wear What They Want to Wear. A redo of season 1, episode 1. Yeah, love this episode because I was able to redeem myself from season 1, episode 1. I like this episode a lot. It was around 22 minutes or something like that, so definitely better than that original 3 minutes. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna rate this an 8. It possibly got a little bit repetitive throughout the episode, but yeah, I'm gonna rate it an 8. Then we have season 3, episode 9, which was the white savior complex. Rating this episode is 7.5. Yeah, because I think I could have said something a little bit better. I just want to clarify something though. Throughout this episode, I was not bashing nor hating on the white race. I just wanted to make that clear because I'm afraid that it may have come across that way. But that was not what was happening. I was simply calling attention to this whole complex or idea, whatever, the white savior complex, which you can hear more about in that episode. But I just wanted to make it clear that that was not my intention at all, nor was that what I was doing. So yeah, okay. Then we have season 3, episode 10, which, okay, last episode of season 3, obviously. The finale, Cancel Culture featuring Just Teens, which was the full name of the title. I liked this episode a lot. This was my second collaboration on my own podcast that I've done. I've been on someone else's podcast before, but we'll be on past that. So second collaboration on my own podcast that I've done, discussing cancel culture with these 2 lovely ladies from the Just Teens podcast, which their names are Aditi and Sanchita. Really love them a lot. Yeah, it was cool to have them on this episode because I was like, we had followed each other on Instagram or whatever, and I was listening to their podcast and I was like, oh, like their podcast seems pretty cool. I realized that we're in the same year or whatever, and then I was like, oh, it'd kind of be cool if they were on this episode with me because I felt like they could add a lot to it. So yeah, pretty grateful that they were on this episode with me. Yeah, I like this episode a lot. I'm gonna rate it an 8.4. And that's solely because of audio and stuff. Like, the audio is kind of cutting out and stuff in some sections. So, that was kind of unfortunate. But, yeah, that's why I'm going to rate it an 8.4. But, other than that, I love this episode. Okay, so moving on to season 4. So, obviously, we haven't done fan favorite because I've only had 2 episodes of season 4. But I wanted to go ahead and rate them just because. But, so season 4, episode 1, season premiere or whatever, which was accent discrimination, which had my dad and my brother on it. I liked that episode a lot. I know after my mom listened to it, she said that she really enjoyed it as well. She said it was like really like soothing, I think is what she said, or something like that, and like clear, like when we were speaking. So yeah, I like this episode a lot. I'm gonna rate it a 9 because there was some audio like glitches and stuff, so that's why I'm gonna rate it a 9. But other than that, I also love this episode. I think that what I have learned though, because my mom was like, she was saying how this episode, like, we were all speaking really clearly and it wasn't like, as she calls it, wait, no, I shouldn't say that out loud, never mind. Like, it's not anything bad, but it may be a bit not culturally sensitive, so I'm not gonna say it. Anyways, yeah, but she says that she says that I rush in my episodes sometimes, like when I speak, which I've definitely been trying to work on, like speaking slower and clearer. It's just that I feel like when I'm talking, I want to get everything out, like I don't want to forget it, so that's why I speak so fast. But I think I'm working on that. But yeah, I like this episode. That's why I said I rated it, I think I said 9, right? A 9 because of audio and stuff. Then we have season 4, episode 2, which just came out on Saturday, April 9th. In that episode, I'm rating it an 8.2. And this was featuring Chissa again, also from the Not Nigerian Enough episode. That's just solely because of like audio and stuff as well. But yeah, I like that episode as well. Honestly, altogether, I loved all of my episodes, really. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, this one was better okay, well, audio wise, some of them are better than the other. But yeah, I loved all of them. I have my personal favorites, but really, I would just say that I'm proud of where this podcast has gone, and I'm proud that I've been able to say that it's because of my listeners and because of you guys who continue to listen all the time, especially those, like, I have people who like listen to every episode, and like that's really sweet of you, and that's super nice. Like, I greatly appreciate that. Like, words cannot explain how much I appreciate you continuing to listen and listening to every episode. And even if you don't listen to every episode, and even if you just listen to some of them, like, I still appreciate you. But yeah, thank you so much, all of you guys. I think it's been a great year. I once again appreciate all of you so much. This podcast can only get better, and it can only get further and further and further and higher and higher and higher. Sky is the limit, you know. Can't get there's no end to where it can continue to grow. So thank you for that. Yeah, I just want to, I know I keep saying it, but truly thank you so much for listening all the time. Yeah, like I said, it's been a great year. I think this podcast definitely has room to grow, and it has room to flourish, and it's going to continue growing. Like I said, I'm repeating what I said. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm going to close it out here now because it's been over an hour. So I apologize for that. But I did say that it would be under an hour and 30 minutes, which I'm fairly sure that it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm not looking at the time, sorry, but I'm pretty sure that it is. So again, thank you guys so much. Look out for the episode this Saturday, which is April 16th, yes, which we'll have another episode. Thank you guys so much again. I hope you enjoyed Gist With Dara. I hope that you enjoyed this episode as well. I'm your host, Dara Simi from Gist With Dara. This is the end, and that's the gist. Bye!